Thanks everybody for joining this year-end webinar of RobotStudio. You're all very welcome to this one, and I'm really excited that so many have taken your valuable time to join on in this session. And I'm quite sure that you won't be disappointed. I really think that you will have some good stuff to bring with you back home, working with engineering stuff for simulation and find some of these things that could empower your daily work, some of the things that we'll show today. As I said, I'm Magnus. I will be the host for the next hour. I will talk a lot, but I will do a lot of demonstrations as well. Please buckle up and we are ready to go. And I prepared quite many things for the day. First, I will start with an introduction. What is RobotStudio? Why are we successful? Why can you trust RobotStudio, etc. Then we'll have a little bit of a throwback, what's been happening and what we have released so far during 2023. And as the next topic, I'll also give you some sort of preview what we will release in a month or so, end of this year. We'll go through a bit about the offering, licensing, and just as Arvid said, a Q&A session. So please, ask the things that you always want to ask nitty-gritty things that you want to say, feedback, functionality you would like to see, etc., etc. And once again, warm welcome. Let's get going. So, first thing, introduction. I'll start with this one because this describes pretty well where we are today. We all know that the world is a bit upside down and a lot of crises is happening, and there's a supply chains crisis, there could be, pandemic, and we work in different way. We work worldwide spread, we sit home, we have to adapt our production equipment to meet all these new things. We have to be that flexible that we can switch to one product to another quite rapidly. And we have to be prepared for this one. We always talk about these high mix, low volume things. And of course, that's why robots come into play. Robots is ideal for this. And, we're pretty good at robots, they will be. But we're even better on robot programming, how we can make them do the stuff that we actually want them to do. It makes no sense to go down, using a joystick and teach robot. The robot should produce. And that's where RobotStudio really makes the difference. We can really make sure that you get efficient by doing this. And let me show you, this is really how we think about RobotStudio. The tool where you can program, you can simulate everything into preciseness, into detail. It's not only about the robot motion, it's also about the configuration, the handshake, the IOs, the safety. You spend more and more time doing safety configuration. But we all start with the PLC, the MES SCADA system, and everything that's an automation cell is needed. And this is really what you can expect from RobotStudio. Of course, you do the pre-studies, you do the offline programming, and what you see here is really what you get. That's the beauty, of course, and that's the best investment that you can do. But on the other hand, when you have an existing production, you don't want to stop that to make some adjustments, to tune or to optimize it. Instead, go to RobotStudio, do that, test everything while the robot is producing without disturbing the ongoing production, and then deploy these changes down to the robot. And it's really all because of this. Our little guy here, the virtual robot controller, that we can give you these type of guarantees, because this one, which is the true digital replica of the real robot software that runs down on the shop floor, guarantees that the things that you see here on the screen will be identical to the things that happens down at the shop floor. It's as simple as that. You can try everything, you test different configuration, and it will be the same. You can trust the result. And it goes for the motion, the trajectories, the cycle time, the behavior, but also the errors. And you should really love to have the arrows here, sitting with your PC, sipping at your coffee, and a warm office down at the next to the robot. Because there you make, the bad calls, the bad decisions. You just want to get the robot, working, not doing the right stuff. So I think that is the strength with RobotStudio, and I will come back to this over and over again about the virtual robot control. Okay, so that was pretty much the introduction. Our virtual controller, the DNA of RobotStudio, and that's what makes it different compared to the other software, simulation softwares that might look good, but can you really trust them? We have released a lot of things during this year, some kind of big things, and one of the top thing, which is one of biggest thing that we released ever, is about this automatic path planning. This is like a fantastic thing that could really help you to create an optimal robot program. And in a tight, kind of cluttered environment in an automation cell, it's really hard to create a program. You can do it, but are you really sure that's the optimal one? You create one, but is it the best? Instead, why not let RobotStudio do that for you? And it's just that easy. You just tell the starting point and position, and RobotStudio will find the optimal path for you. And I will do some demos, of course. And I think these ones I've shown it before, but I think it's extremely visible to show what it's all about. In this case, we have this standard ABB cell. You can see how the robot moves. It moves kind of linear. That's how people think. Point to point, kind of jerky, stop positions, almost fine pose, and move linear. And as you can see, this transportation took like 3.2 seconds. When we took this cell and ran it in RobotStudio with automatic path planning, we got a completely different result and a completely different movement of the robot. And by just, using the automatic path planning, we could decrease the cycle time by 50%. And the beauty is when you have this highly time-efficient path, the energy consumption will also be reduced quite dramatic. So in this case, we reduce the cycle time by 50%, but we also reduce the energy consumption by up to 30%. And this transportations is one of 15 in this cell. So you can think about, cutting that cycle time by half. There's a lot of more parts that can be produced in this cell. So the beauty with this one is that you actually just tell the robot what to do, and RobotStudio will create a smooth, collision-free, singularity-free path for you. And you really don't have to be an expert. It's that easy, Even if you're new beginner in robotics, you will get the perfect optimal path. And the result will be smooth, with faster motion time. And thanks to this time-efficient path, the energy consumption will also be reduced. So I will do a demo now. Enough talking, and I will do demo. I will bring up a cell, not this guy. I will bring up another one, and let me bring up the right one and show how easy and how powerful it is, to do it. So here we have a pick and place cell, a machine tending cell, where I will actually run this one because this is like the baseline where we'll start comparing. So the robot goes down to the bin, picks apart, and goes down to the tray. It's just the via points that I show now, so no picking whatsoever. And you can see we end up like 5.2 seconds. And you can see here when I run it again, the robot moves kind of jerky. It's a lot of stop points, fine points, and accelerate, stop. That's pretty much how a lot of robot programs are done today. Instead, when using our new automatic path planning, we don't really, go into details how and what did you do. I mean, we really tell what did you do, not how. So let me show you how easy and how powerful it is. So I bring up this collision-free path, call it that is, and we really now just specify, instead of doing in a robot program, we just set up the sequence. So I just put add, I say start from the home pose, go to the pick, go to the drop, and then go to the home pose again. And you can see we have created the sequence that the robot should do. I add some optimize the zones. There are some other parameters they can work with talking about self conditions, how much clearance, etc. you should have to certain objects, etc. and so forth. I will use the same speed as I had in the example shown before. That's the highest speed, so we can compare the cycle time between them. And then I press create. So now we start calculating. Now we start finding this optimal path. And boom, we are done. So it's kind of fast, it's kind of efficient. And that is something that we'll spend a lot of time with during this year. A lot of things under the hood with automatic path planning to find faster path in a better path in a shorter time. So I close this one. I will push that down to the controller. I will activate it, set this as one factory. I'll actually do like this. And I'll also change the color of the trace so we can see the difference between the previous and the new one. So I'll change this one to green just to show how good it is. And remember the cycle time that we had before, 5.2 seconds. I press play. And now you can see the robot takes a completely different track and ends up with 2.8 seconds instead. Almost a reduction with 50%. And you saw how fast, and I talked a lot in between, but you saw how fast you can create this program. And you also see how much smoother the robot moves. So it's not only that, we reduce the cycle time, we also reduce a little bit of the wear of the robot because it moves way much smoother. And down here we can see we have brought up a little bit of a new panel, the collision-free path output. I will come back to this one, but remember that one because this is something where you get some debug information later on as well when things doesn't really get what they expect or when you get collisions and so forth. Okay, so we reduced that pretty much by half. But let's have a look about the energy consumption as well. So I will activate the original path first. I will actually remove clear the traces and turn them up. So I will do it like this, and I will open up the signal analyzer. And first I will start with the signal setup. So we subscribe on the right signals. I hope that you guys have actually used the signal analyzer. That's one of the most powerful things we have in RobotStudio. To be able to subscribe and search on all different type of signals that come from the robot to get some insights how the robot behaves. In this case, I check on the energy consumption. And I bring up the signal analyzer. I will just put it like this. And I press play. And now we run the original program. So it moves, ends in 5.2 seconds with then around 8,500 joules of consumption. Now I switch to a new one, press play on that guy. Instead, robot swings around, ending up in 2.8 seconds and around 7,500 joules, meaning that we have decreased energy consumption by around 1,000 joules in this short time period without doing any specific optimization. So you see how kind of easy, how kind of powerful it is, and how amazing the result is when you see this collision-free or automatic path planning functionality. There are a few things, of course, that I just want to show you very quickly. The first thing is about this output that we've added. We have been working a lot with the collision geometries because this is really the thing that how to create the collision geometries as effective as needed, and also keep them enough, not so complex, so we can calculate as fast as possible with it. But the thing is that you can change it, you can get some information, and you can also, I will just show you so you can test it, because in some areas we try to keep it as kind of coarse, kind of not so accurate models to calculate, but in some areas you need to have more accuracy, and then you can switch to these different levels. And when you really have the preciseness, you have to have the slow, and you have to customize, you can really slice it into more precise convex hulls. So just to have that in back of your head, but the more interesting is of course the result that you see, how easily you can cut the cycle time and the energy consumption. Okay, switching back to the presentation, and I will just bring that up again. So that was one of the top thing that we have released this year. Another thing, another extremely cool thing is that we brought virtual or digital robotics into the cloud. We released that for exactly almost a year ago, end of December last year, and we've improved a lot and we're working a lot. And we see this still as one of the true enablers, one of the platforms for the futures. And as I said in the beginning, I mean, we are more and more working like distributed. Our colleagues sit at home, some sit at office, and you guys work in like big companies and you have customers worldwide. We all need this possibility to collaborate smoother. And when we collaborate, there's also a chance or a risk, I would say, that how to keep track of these different things that are happening to these projects, and that's about the version control, about the traceability. So RobotStudio Cloud enables this possibility to collaborate in a team, but also how we can keep track of all these different changes that people are doing while working in this project. And this is really what we are building. I mean, we're building an entire ecosystem. And as we see, in the top, we have the RobotStudio desktop. In the middle, we have this cloud-based or this cloud storage, the project portal, where you as a user stores your product and where you have the possibility to invite others to collaborate with you. And you invite them because unless you do that, it's only personal to you. And you can either decide if you want to use the desktop product, this one, or you can use the web-based application, RobotStudio Cloud, we call it. And it really depends on the use case, but you pick the tools what you're most familiar with, and that's solves the task best for you. Right now, a lot of people are using RobotStudio Cloud, and they use it for version control. They sit in the desktop, but they store the project in the cloud, and the cloud will handle the capabilities of keeping track of the different versions. In the cloud, we have a Git repo, and we have created a powerful user interface on top of it, which is understandable because version control can be kind of tricky to keep track of these different versions and that. And then, of course, I can invite others and they can pick up their web application. We have pretty much the same mindset as when Microsoft does, working with OneDrive, working with a desktop product. Just when I created this presentation, I did it to PowerPoint desktop. I uploaded it into the SharePoint, same thing as we do now, and we can invite others to comment to work together with me, and they can use that in the web application or by using the desktop. Pretty much the same thing. In the cloud, we also have a virtual controller running. We have a virtual robot controller in the cloud. So that means that you can bring up your tablet, you can simulate, and you will have the same preciseness and exactness. So you can really trust the things as well, even if you doesn't have the things installed on your PC. Quite good. We're also bringing in the AR viewer, and more will come on that one. So I'm really excited about next year when we come back. I'll talk a lot more about this, but in AR view, we can show simulations from RobotStudio and visualize them there, and also visualize the safety zones, etc. And super cool thing to do, nice proposals and nice layouting. And then we have this little guy down there, the real robot, and to be able to connect and trace things and deploy things. This is what we're working with quite much, and I have a lot of reasons to come back to this one later on. So think about this big picture and what we are trying to create, and we see it as a platform for the future, really. As I said, two main things: to be able to collaborate and to have keeping track of different versions. And you can see we have the version control system here, and that means that really we can start. I'm the owner. I invite others. They create their own track, their own branch. They can work on this one, make changes, test things. And when they're done, they merge it to the main points and we can deploy that to the real robot. So that is the whole idea. Kind of simple. I will do some demos so you understand how it works. This is maybe the most boring slide, but we have to talk about this one as well, because as soon as we talk about cloud, we talk about security, cybersecurity. But when we started really from the beginning, we have designed it to be secure. That was the first thing that we did. So it's, We cover everything. I mean, the data that you upload into the cloud is personal. We don't share it with any third parties. We don't share it with ourselves. We don't see anything, and it's yours unless you invite someone else. We're running on Microsoft Azure. It follows all the different standards, latest things, latest security, and we run in Western Europe. And we also, of course, everything's encrypted, everything is audited, and we follow all ABB certificates and procedures that are needed. Of course, GDPR compliant, etc., etc. So think of that when we have covered it all really for you, but it has to be there, right? So now I leave it, but just as you remember, okay? So we take this seriously, really. Okay, some new cool things that we added during this year. And the first thing that I would like to mention is about this possibility to be able to share recordings via the cloud. You remember when, what we started was that we had these station viewers first. These big executables that we did from RobotStudio desktop, that we could create a station viewer, a mini RobotStudio that you can send to others, and they can rotate around, which is super slick, super nice. But they tend to be quite big, and right now sending executables, email them, etc., it's not that a good idea. They are getting stuck by the email system, really. Nobody wants to have an executable running, sent to you. Instead, we just do a recording from RobotStudio, you upload it in the cloud, and then you get a link that you can share and send to people. And they just can download it, and they open up a browser with this link, and they don't need any license. They can run it on any device, and they can run it from anywhere. And in this case, you see they run it on the phone. So that means that you can share extremely nice proposals, super easy. I will demo that as well. And one more thing before I do the demo is a bit about this, the possibility to restore a version. Because why should you have a version control system if you can't roll back to working version? So this is something we're going to introduce a little bit late maybe, but we have done that, included that one. So we have all these different versions, and you can pick one of the versions that you know was working, and you can just roll back to that one to restore to that version, a functional one to cover yourself a little bit. And think about that when we move on to the real robots, etc., to be able to restore and to roll back to a functional version. So a lot of good things. I will now do a little bit of a demo to show you. For you who haven't seen cloud, and for you who have seen it, we show some of the new cool stuff that we have introduced. Okay, let's jump into the demo mode. And I have prepared a little bit of a station here. So this is a station that we have. I will select a simple arc-welded station, so I will just run it. And you can already see here that there are some differences. First of all, you can see that I am signed in. I'm signed in as myself. And you can see that this station here is connected to the cloud. That means that the storage that I have here is on the cloud. And you also see that the possibility to be able to push commits and push changes to that storage. So that's what we do. I will show you how easily it is. And first of all, I will open up my cloud project, and you will see all my, just bring that down, I'll open this one. And you can see all my products, and you can see this is my personal thing, unless I invite someone. You can see I'm logged in here, and I have my space, I have everything that's needed. And this was the product that I was using. Here you will also find a lot of tutorials, documentations, etc., how to use the products. Pretty handy. You just, do see everything in app, what you need. Okay, but let's go to this demo. You can see here we have this one, and I can look at the product. And first of all, I would like to show is the version control. So here we have all the different commits that have happened to this one. Right now, I'm the only one that is working with this one, but I can invite others. And you just do it like this. I'm the owner. I invite someone. Send them, create an invite, and I can send this email link to them. And that means they can collaborate with me, working together with me in this project. And the first thing, I will not do that one, though, the first thing these guys have to do that gets invited is that they have to create a new branch. And then you take, the latest version from this main branch and you create a parallel track where they can work on. So they don't interfere with each other. And when they are done, they can push those changes to the main branch or get updates from the main branch so it can work in parallel. Perfect if you have, factories that we have similar automation cells, or you replicate on different factories and different lines. You can just, pull them off and create a new one using that as a branch them off and duplicate them. So this is really the thought process behind this. The first thing I would like to show is that you can now as well roll back to certain. And so I just, select a version that I know was working in this project, and you just select these 3 little dots and you can do a restore to roll back. And that means that this one will be the latest version of you. Create a new commit that adds to this timeline. I will not do this right now, but it's that simple. And of course, we can open up, we can run it, and we can do certain things. So, but I will head back to this one, and I will show a little bit when we push changes and when we put them into the version control system. So the thing that you do now is that you can do a lot of things. So let me introduce a change. I've added a few changes to the Rapid program. I will also add a few things to the scene just to show. So for example, I can put a palette here. And I just press create. So I put the palette. So we see something that is changing. And I save it. And now I would like to push these changes, store these changes into the version controls. So I do a review, and you can see here are my changes that have happened to the station environment, but you can also see, you have changed a lot of things to the code. And here you get, the source and the target, and you can compare these two versions between. And you can see all the changes that I have introduced to my program, a lot of cleanup, and I just will have to make a comment. I did a cleanup and added palette, for example. And that's pretty much it, You can be quite sure this is the thing that's working. I will do that, and now we can push these changes towards to make the commit. Added stuff. And I make a commit. So now we take the changes, push them up to the version control system, and we have them there. And everybody is working together in this project will get notified, they get synced with these changes if they want to. It takes a little bit of while, but this is, how it works. So it's kind of handy. This is how we collaborate. This is how we work in a project together. My network connection is a bit slow, but this is how it is. I switch back. And you can see, once it's done, we'll get a new commit and we will get the latest and greatest changes. And of course, we can also open up. Now I'm pushing up the changes. It's still ongoing, but I will do that just to see how it give you a view, how it looks like in this world and what you're capable of doing. And you can see the changes, the commit, I will introduce the palette there as well. The controller is now starting up as well. We have this virtual robot controller that I have in the cloud that is starting up. And that means that you can start simulate, you can start test, you can do everything that is really needed to be able to do this. Okay. And of course you can do changes here as well. You commit them, and when you do that, you will be notified as well down as a user. Okay, the controller started. It's starting up. You have the same thing. You can look at the program. You can do changes to your program. you can debug, you can run certain things and really work in a kind of streamlined way to adjust, work with your product, and tune it. So I can simulate, I can go through it, I can debug, I can put in breakpoints, etc. A very handy, easy way to do it. And you don't have to have anything installed, you're just running this in the web browser. And once you're done, you can do some changes, you can put in some commits and sync, as I said, to everybody. So this is one way to keep track of all the changes in your automation product. So this is what the commit I did, and you saw I changed a few things. Cool. Let's head back again where it was here. Let's close this one. The last thing I would like to show in the cloud was the thing that we can share recording. So we have this simulation, and you can see that we have this new thing which is called export viewer. So I just press this one, and I would like to store the recording in my cloud storage. I will also create a link. And that means it's pretty much, it's a station viewer that we have. We do the viewing, we create an executable that we can able to share and distribute. Pretty much the same thought process behind this one. So now we run it, we record everything, and once done, we can push that up to the cloud storage. Okay? So now it's done. Soon. And I'm creating the viewers, I'm uploading it, I store it in the cloud, and I will just jump to my cloud here. I have to log in again, and you can see here it is. And this link is something that you can share with others. This is something that you can pick up on a phone. This is something that you can send and distribute to anyone. You don't really have to have any license or anything like that. So this is kind of straightforward. Just export this viewer. You have this stored in the cloud, and you can take this link and send or email it or hand it out to others to give a snapshot of your proposal. Kind of sweet. So there's a lot of good things that have happened to the cloud, and we add more and more capabilities, more and more functionalities into it. And we are expanding our ecosystem in this direction. Good. And here you can email it and you send it away. So I just close this and switch back to my presentation. So these were like the two big things that we have released so far. We're continuously working with them. I mean, and we have done a bunch of other things, of course, but these were like the two main highlights that I would like to share with you. But now we jump into the next release that will happen in a month or so, and I would really love to show you what's next. You remember I showed you about the autopath planning, the collision free. And I said we have this output, this debug window, and you can see right now we included more information into it, because before it was kind of troublesome to really figure out where the collisions are happening. We just said there's a collision between this and that. Okay, but where is it? And especially you have to see the convex hulls, the swept volume around it, that to be able to see that. But now you can see down here, you see this output window where you can actually highlight, and the robot will jump the way the collision is happening and between which objects, and we outline which part it is, and either you can have to make it more precise, you have to make it more accurate, the collision geometry, or the targets are actually in collision. So this is some sort of a guidance to guide you. So this is something I work quite much with, together with optimization, speeding up the process, etc., etc. But I can guarantee you much more things will come with this automatic path planning during next year. So that was one thing. And then, of course, we have a bunch of small things, but extremely valuable that we've been added. So I just cherry-picked a few of these that could be worth mentioning. First, we have included a search bar in the browser that you can actually find objects in the station in the browsers, targets or objects that you can search by name. Really handy. And then we have another thing which is like to duplicate, that you'll be able to create patterns of objects that along a line or a circle. For example, create a matrix, or you have palettes that you would like to have several objects and you want to distribute them. So just like copy them and create them along a certain pattern. The third thing, I mean, the picture is not that nice, but it's a little bit of filtering, and that is that you can bring up the statistics, you know, the statistic geometries, etc., and you can filter. And we've included the size of the object, and we mean what the boundary box size, how big in space are the objects. And you can, for example, sort by these. And I mean, if you bring up the construction drawing, you have thousands of screws and bolts that's there, and you can sort them by size, and you can either delete them or hide them and get rid of them. And especially useful when we're running collision avoidance or automatic path planning to get rid of these small things. So this is a new thing that's kind of handy. Number 4 is my favorite, that we're now keeping the reference coordinate system. I mean, I've been talking with a lot of people, and people say this is one of the most annoying things that we have in the studio. And now, I mean, we have listened to you guys. We are now keeping the reference coordinate system when you're switching selection from one to another. For example, if you have set position and you go from one object to another, or from one target to part, we keep selections that we have. We keep the reference coordinates, so we don't switch to default. Good. Finally, we have done it. The 5th thing that I would like to mention is the possibility to group or ungroup components, that you can easily structure a lot of components in a cell to just group them, but also to split, to ungroup them as well, to be able to have some sort of better view, and you can bring them out and group them accordingly. The same goes for smart components, but there we call them combine and split, that you can also group logical components, etc., in a better way. And then we have the possibility to rename a virtual controller, or rename the system, actually. This has been kind of challenging, you know, when you run something, run a system for layout, you get a name, and then it says you need to really change it. It's not that easy. You really have to create a new system, and you have to make a backup and restore that into it. Extremely challenging, but now rename it. I will soon demonstrate that as well to see how easy it is. And this was just, you know, some parts that I just brought up to you, which could be extremely, you know, hopefully useful for you guys. Moving on. This is another thing that we've included, or will include, that we are now have all the packages completely cloud-based libraries and documentations, etc., that are part of cloud-based packages. They are not part of the distribution from the beginning, and you only need to download or get the package that you actually need. That will reduce the distribution size dramatically and speed up the installation process quite heavily. And the thing is that, let's say, if you have an old station, you open that up, you will begin notified, hey, you're missing this package. Should I download it for you? You say, yes, do that, please. And we bring down the package to your computer. And we have also this notification center that you can see here, that there are some updates available. There are new packages. It could be either libraries, but it could also be robotware packages or robotware add-ins. We monitor and we keep track of them, and you can bring always down the latest, so you always know that you're on the latest version. And the same thing goes with documentation, of course, which is another robotware package. If you need to go offline, you can you can download the entire set of libraries as well, so you're prepared before doing that. So there are possibilities to work, of course, in the same way, so you don't always have to be connected to do this. So this is a little bit of shift, but I think it would be great, you know, to have that to be able to speed up the installation, to distribute things much easier, and to make you sure that you run on the latest versions of everything. And now, one of the big things that we, let's say, finally have added, a new, solid, very powerful gizmo. I mean, you remember we had our little gizmo for a long, long time, but now we finally have one that is, worth a tool like this. We have had it for cloud for a while, and now we brought it as well down to the desktop. And here you easily can manipulate and change the view and scene of your layout. And I will do a demo just to show how powerful and how easy it is to use this one. And I really love it. And, this is something that we should have had for a long, long time ago, but now it's here. Okay. So let me jump into that one and show you how easy it is to work with it. So now we are on the 23.4 branch, and there are some new things, and you can see right now I've already started selecting the tool and the gizmo. And you can see we have changed it a bit up here. It's not exactly how it will look like. We still are working on the final part, but pretty much the thing is that we have a reference coordinate system and also the pivot point where we should, rotate around, or with what the attachment or selection should be. So it could be local origin, it could be the reference coordinate system, that is said, a selected point where I click on, or the gravity or geometrical center of that object to be able to move this. So I'll try to go through them a little bit quite quickly so you get some sort of feeling where it is. And right now, so let me show you here. So of course you can now drag along the line, and you can see we have a little bit of a panel that pops up. So here you can type in, oh, maybe a little bit too much, and you can just say adjust it if you want to be more precise, if you don't want to drag it, and you can also select if you want to relative to start or relative what your reference position. You can be more precise if you press down some keys for fine F, and they will be popping out here. You can see right now you don't see it, but you will soon be visible here as well when you work in this context, what type of keys you should do to be able to do smaller increments or fine-tune them. And you can see the gizmo is rescaling, and can also quite easily work on the precise. And now you see I do some reorientation on the tool. I would say no, I would like to have always when I weld, I would like to have this by 15, and we jump around like this. And when I switch now, I'm using the reference as active tool, but you can see if I switch to word, of course, the reference coordinate system will adapt accordingly. Or if I go to the active work object, which is placed here, then of course it will be like that. So you can see it's way much more easier to work and to manipulate both the robot but also the scene. And you have less need of having maybe all these set position things and dialogues or rotate, which is usually before. I would say the gizmo I had was good, to coarsely put the things into the right position, but now we can do this really fine manipulation of it. So this is kind of handy, I really would say. So that was about the jogging. Now I will switch to the target. I think I have this one here, and you can see I select this one by using the active work object, or I can choose the local one. And in the same way, I can adjust it. And here we have these planes. So here you can actually offset the things in a certain place. So if I click on this one, you can see it will be in the blue or red in the X set plane. So I click on this one. So let's say I would like to shift it now 100 millimeters here. And then set the 100%, and you can see I can easily manipulate the things by offsetting. So I think this is really handy, really nice, and you really soon get used to how it works. Okay. Last thing I would like to show is about is in this part is that I would like to show how it works in with some parts. So I can have, in this case, I think I like to have a selected point. So actually, the gizmo jumps to the place where you click. So you can move it, you can rotate it, and right now I have the local reference system. I can also do for multiple movement, something that we couldn't do before. So now we can do multiple manipulation of multiple objects. So this is kind of cool, and if I switch to the geometrical center, it will jump down to here, and then you can see if I rotate, it be kind of clear, it rotates around the gravity of this object. So this is something you can play around with. I hope that you will find it extremely useful, and just let us know. I mean, we are very curious to hear about your feedback. So that was the new gizmo. I have a few more things that I would like to share. Let's see how time is. Yeah, we still have a few minutes, and there are two things that I would like to share. The first thing is about the replacement of the robot. The replaced robot is something that we've been lacking, and that's been on a wish list for a long time. You do your proposal, you do your layouting, but then you realize, shit, I picked the wrong robot. I need one with a bigger payload, one with a bigger reach. Before, it was kind of challenging. You have to really recreate the system to get back to where you were. But we keep everything. We keep the configuration, we keep the safety, we keep the attachment, the base frame, everything is the same. We just switched the manipulated time of the system. So easily can swap and test different proposals and layouts with the replaced robot. It has been there for release or two, but we have enhanced it a bit. So this is something extremely cool and extremely super useful. And then we have this stress estimation, because this is something that we also find extremely useful to be able to visualize where the stress is happening in a path to the robot. And when you run a robot program, certain movement and certain orientations, etc., causes more stress. And some of the stress that is caused is of course will reduce the life length of the robot. But here you will get some insights to really digest and find where in the program what is causing the stress. So I will make a super quick demo, the last one for today, just to visualize where it is, and just to show you that we have now a lot of another signals they can turn on, the maximum stress, for example. We also included this into the TCP trace, so you can see I can select this one in the trace. Our system, let me see if I can, sorry, stop, and we have the stress. So we've set up everything, I press play, and now we can see, you see the different stress levels that are happening to a robot, and you can see it switches between green and yellow, really depending on how much reorientation, etc., that happening to a robot. This is only valid for Omnicore and the 57 and 67 new generation of robots. Okay, and that's it. So now you can see it was pretty much green. I can go to the signal analyzer. I can take a look on the different things. I forgot to add, I will actually include this one, so we can actually do that in the target. So I actually include this one as well. I will rerun, and we will see that all these type of things, the different, you can see there are some peaks causing a bit of stress to the robot program. And if you want to drill down, you just can go into the signal analyzer, click on a position, and to get these insights, what exactly is happening, what is exactly causing the stress. So the simulation is done. I can zoom in. I can see there are a few peaks. To get some of the details, I just select this path and I see, okay, I jump to the program. We open up the rapid editor and you can see, we run with Vmax and fine. And even if I reduce the acceleration, you can see there are some stress causes. But if you run with full speed with stop position, of course, there'll be a lot of acceleration, the acceleration causing a lot of stress to the robot. So this is something that we included, and it could be especially interesting to really jump into the details of your robot program and how it affects your robot's behavior and potentially the life length of the robot. A little bit of rush in the end, but that's no problem. So a little bit to summarize. I think we brought in some really cool, nice thing that I really would like you to try out. The gizmo, the stress level visualization, the possibility to replace the robot, just to select and replace it. And then, of course, we've done a lot of things to the automatic path planning parts. And that's pretty much it. You all know about this. We have a full package. We have a premium license that also includes the desktop and the cloud. That is part. We also have an AR viewer for free that you can just download from the Google stores or app stores. And we have few sets of different licenses. We have the freemium versions where you can configure the program robot and program it to get it started. But then, of course, we have the premium license, and pretty much everything that you have seen right now is part of the premium license. And for you who haven't used RobotStudio, you can try it out by using our trial license. You can have the full functionality for 30 days, try everything. And even the cloud is a tryout period as well that you can use. So, go to our webpage, search for RobotStudio, download, and start using it and start playing around with it. Realize that we only have 5 minutes left, but now we open the doors for some Q&As, and I head back to you, Arvid, and there are some questions that have popped up during the session.
Yes, we had quite a few questions come in, and it's great to see that our participants are very interested in this. So we've had everything from very small technical and detailed questions to more general questions. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight in here, and I'll try to do them in some kind of order here. One of the first ones that came in, would it be possible to create a collision-free path with ROB targets instead of joint targets?
Yes. This is one of the things that we're working with right now, to be able to purely create Cartesian targets or ROB targets. Yes. The problem is, though, that you cannot guarantee singularity freeness in that sense. But we think about a little bit of a combination that you sometimes have when you have the big transportation, but when it comes to the process points, you will have Cartesian targets, some offsets and some approach and departure, but we can also create completely Cartesian position as well. So yes, that will come.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you, Magnus. Moving along, will it work to commit layout changes from a branch, or will it only work from the master?
No, so you can it will work both. So you can push both robot changes or program changes, but also layout of scene changes as well, from both master and the different branches. So that will work. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I think you answered this one, but just to clarify, what RobotStudio version has the auto path planning?
We have, let's see, we have had it during the entire year. So all the 23 versions are equipped with auto path planning, but you should always go for the latest one. 23.4 will have the best one. We have enhanced even more things, but yes, it's included that. So look in the path, create collision-free path. There's where you find it. Otherwise, just upgrade and you will get it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Is there any UDT to handshake with the AB PLC other than EDS files of Ethernet IP?
Oh, that was a tricky one. I think that is some sort of beyond my my knowledge, to be honest. I mean, what we have in terms of PLCs is that we can connect to Siemens Simit and we can connect via OPC UA. So I'm not sure if that's what I mean, but we think about that when we have in RobotStudio, we have all of these different drivers that we connect to some native protocols, and we can exchange the tags or the symbols to do this. But when it comes to the Ethernet IP and how that is connected, I'm not sure. But you cannot connect directly via an Ethernet IP to the robot controller or a virtual robot controller. You have to go through one of these drivers inside RobotStudio for OPC UA, OPC, or Simit. So I'm not really sure if that answered it, but maybe we can deep dive, and maybe I need some help from some colleagues to explain that as well.
We'll make a note of it and make sure that we reach out to the person who asked this question. Perfect. And then there's a question about the 500 megabyte limitation for opening up projects. Will it be removed or?
Yeah, we are increasing both the storage and the size of uploading right now. So first we have 5 gigabytes of storage. This one will be way much more expanded, but we will also open up the storage size, and we also have some other limitation that certain parts cannot be bigger and so on. So that will be a change for next year, that we will increase that. And I know especially when we work with version control, when you sit on desktop and you have huge projects and you want to have the cloud as a version control system, we need to have that capability of storing bigger files. So yes, it will come.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, Magnus. The new gizmo looks awesome. A few questions. When will you add support for simulating AMR's AGVs, the ASTI movements?
That's a good one. I mean, there are 2 different levels. I would say. First, of course, when you think about the AMRs, it's really about how you calculate or schedule and look into the fleet, etc. The fleet management, or let's say how many the logistics or the flow. This will not be in RobotStudio as we see it right now. To have the overall logistic of the cell or the material flow happening. So how many AGVs, etc. you need to do this. So that will not be, but we might be more interesting maybe how to communicate with these type of tools to be able to exchange this data. So that's one part. But then of course when it comes to this, what you actually more see on the screen, where you have AGVs moving into a specific cell, and also that we saw in the beginning where I had some AMRs AGVs. That is, of course, of more interest or less more interest, but of course more close to what RobotStudio is when you actually have material brought into or using AGV or AMRs as fixtures, etc. There, of course, you can already program a lot of things today, but in a quite clumsy, hard way. So yes, we are really looking into this. I can't say really when, but just to give you the scope or the context, what we're looking into, I would say it's more on that level to see how they interact in studio together with the robots and using the basic functionality or a little bit more extended functionality than what it is today. So there will be a lot more things there, but I can't really say when and how in that sense. But we're looking into it for sure.
Perfect. I can see that we arrived at our scheduled time here at 4 o'clock. I don't know, Magnus, if you're pressed for time, if you can stay on for.
No, I will be happy to this. It's and for you that has to leave, of course, I would really want like to big thank you, and I really hope that you enjoyed the session, that you found something useful. But for the rest, I will be more than happy to stay around and ask or answer the questions that you did.
Perfect. So let's keep going here for a little bit with the questions that came in. So the next one, when will cloud be available for network licenses?
Yeah, I wonder that too. No, we have had some issues, honestly, with our licensing system. We have had some issues with a lot of different things when it comes to this. So it has been a little bit of a frustration. I would say soon. I would say, but I've said it for a while now that it should be soon. But that is my really belief that all network licenses, everything should include the cloud licenses. So we work a lot heavily on this one, but it's a little bit on infrastructure, unfortunately, with the different IT systems with ABB that causing some of the issues, unfortunately. but it will come. It's a must. And I can tell you like this, if people are interested to use clouds that have networks or partner licenses, we will give you cloud licenses for free that you can test on top of it. So you can still use a network license, and you can add cloud license that are personal. A lot of you guys have already done that to get access to it. So please contact us, or please contact your local business unit that you work with, and we will provide you with cloud license so you can start working with it. And soon we'll solve it in a generic way. But that's like an intermediate step. So please don't hesitate to contact us. We'll solve it for you. Okay? But soon it will come.
Yep. Soon is a very, very good word to use.
Exactly. It's very imprecise in some way.
Yeah. So next question, will you add support to export stations to the USD format?
Interesting. There's a lot of discussion about that. We have no plans right now, but there are. I've seen a few interesting tools that are already doing that for RobotStudio, third-party things that does that. So there are a few things that actually looking very promising. So if you Google a little bit, you will find some sort of drivers already on top of the RobotStudio that are capable of doing it. So there are possibilities, but we are looking into that as well to see if that will be one of the output formats or input formats or interop formats for RobotStudio. But there are already possibilities, I would say, to do it.
Yep. Great, thank you. We had a question about what unit/dimensions is the stress indications?
Interesting. It's just an index, so it's between 0 to 100. And the numbers that you see, it's pretty much in comparison to a normal standard cycle. So if it's a normal standard cycle is somewhere in the middle, and if it's greener, it's less stress to that standard cycle, and of course 100 is way beyond that. So it's just an indication how hard you're running the robot compared to this, let's say, standard or normal cycle. But I would say, I would just emphasize, it's only for OmniCore. It's only for the new, what we call the Lima robots 57X, 67, X robots that we support so far for the compact gearboxes. That you can compare, but that's just a level or indication of the stress that this is put to it.
Yeah, perhaps you should come up with a unit name for it.
It's nothing. it's just an index.
So you plan to introduce more plans, maybe per package?
That would be fun. No, but of course, I mean, I usually show a lot of, let's say, the generic things in RobotStudio, but of course we would like to have some more application things on top of it, because the robot actually are doing something. It's not that we're just running pure naked robots or non-applications. So we have this, we have these power packs that's on top of that supports the different packages or applications on top of it. Maybe it was not that question, but maybe you have to rephrase it. But I just talked. But there are also some application packages that we are looking into to add on top of it. But now I realized you asked if there were more packages that you would like to have on as licenses, I guess, on RobotStudio. And yes, we are looking into that as well. A lot of things we're looking into, I say that. But this is something that we see if we can split the product into different levels of packages. Right now we have the free and we have the premium. But we also are kind of interested to find maybe some intermediate packages, maybe with different durations or time periods as well on top of it. So that will be a task that's actually started already. But let's see when it will happen and how, when we will communicate that. But yes, we are looking into that to have different functionality sets for different users and different personas.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you, Magnus. There's a question here: if what about additional axes? Will they also be added to a collision-free path?
Yes, that will be included. That is one of the things that we include quite soon. That will include the 7th axis, so external axis, as well in the path planning.
Mm-hmm. Is cloud packages available for free universities, like the 100 free licenses of RobotStudio?
No, it's not. It's not part of the school package. It's only part of the premium package so far. There is a tryout version that you can use for school ones, but it's not part of the school package as is. So no, unfortunately not.
Mhm. Let's move along here, trying to keep track of which we've done. Will there be a possibility to export top view of a cell to 2D layout with lines that are not visible from the top hidden?
Yeah, for hidden lines and removals, yes, we already done a few things, but you can actually do already export some of them into DVD and some removals of some lines. So we added a few things already into the product. So please test the new version that come out now and see if it's needed. I know we have a few other features in the pipeline that we will look into that addresses this one to enable this, but we have taken a few steps already into this direction. So please try that out in the next upcoming version to see if it suits the needs that we have.
Yep, great, thank you. Is there a plan to implement the possibility to edit rapid in the editor without write access and only require write access when trying to apply changes?
Interesting. And then we talk, of course, in the towards the real robot controller. Yes. No, we have not really thought of that, but of course we are thinking a lot about in general how to push changes and deploy changes to the robot controller. So I think that'd be an interesting thought that we might need to revisit because it's something, of course, we have thought of before. But I agree. Why should you have in some way? Why should you have a lengthy mastership or of the controller when you do the typing when it's more when you actually push down the changes. I know there could be some things about the parsing, the syntax, and checks and things like that, but I have to leave that to the dev guys, really the experts, what's is possible or not. But I think it's a good thought. So I will keep that in mind.
Mhm. Great. Any chance to bring back linear jog robot instead of combined with move? I
Yeah,
constantly see myself dragging a robot or other objects. So
exactly. I hope you saw the gizmo, and that's one of the steps that we have taken. So now, when we did the merge, I mean, it was like a transition. Now we understand why we did this transition towards this gizmo to combine. You see, we had this new gizmo, and now we combine this to this one. But now you can see it's way much more intuitive. It's way much more easier to understand how you move the objects when you do jogging or moving objects. But of course, it's still a possibility that you might move the robot accidentally. So we will also include that you can lock that you can lock objects so you don't accidentally move them. For example, a robot maybe should be locked per default to that position so you don't drag it around. So this is something that we are including as well, that you have possibility to lock certain things, but also make the selection quite visible what you actually are selecting. So you don't accidentally think that you're jogging or doing a linear jog or reorientation that and moving the robot. So we have a clear visualization of the selected objects. So so yes, there are a lot of things, of course, but testing gizmo, it's way much more efficient than it was before.
yep, makes sense. So there's a question if there's any plans to provide access to the collision-free path calculation function in the virtual controller, or is this functionality only available in RobotStudio?
So you want to let's see, so I understand the question. So if you want to run it in the virtual controller or uh, let
Yeah.
let yeah, let's elaborate a little bit on that one because of course, I mean, right now we plan it, we run it just offline. We do it as a service inside RobotStudio. But of course, we think about how we can use this type of functionality later on is, of course, that we can maybe do the planning a little bit tighter to the robot as well. Of course, you configure everything in RobotStudio, but of course, to use this type of functionality next to robot and take sensor data and use that and let the robot by itself plan. That is, of course, super interesting. And of course, the collision-free automatic path planning has those capabilities. So I'll leave it by that, but you can envision where a little bit what we are driving towards and how our thought process is a little bit on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we have a feature request that
Great.
control and mouse click on procedures and function names in the code editor should move the cursor to the definition, the same way it works in Visual Studio.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Is there a specific robot you recommend for use in a meat packaging application? My customer bought a Fanuc and that was advertised as washdown rated, but I had to replace it because apparently it wasn't. I think they landed.
I tell you should not go for the Fanuc. That's of course that's how you should do. No, but we have a lot of graded robots as well. But I'm not that expert in these areas. You have to talk with your local business users who really are the experts in which robot to use and which also have the right ratings in terms of IP protection, etc. for doing those. So I will not jump into that topic. But I think good suggestion. Go for the ABB. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's always the answer, right?
Exactly.
Moving along, visualizing world zones would be nice. And have on the wish list for some time. Any plans or decisions?
Yes, it's one of the top things for next year. It is. It has been on. Let's see. What lot of things that we have already covered and solved this year. It has been on top list, but world zone has always been on this top list on this one. And I think that was like the thing that we had before Safe Move to visualize, to do, and of course that should be able to edit, to be able to program, and to visualize inside RobotStudio. So that is one of my top priorities for next year, to be able to include that. And maybe I promised too much, but yes, I really would like to see it during next year, actually. And I think we should really have it. For me, it's just like a no-brainer, actually, to have it.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. Is there a plan to integrate the PickMaster Twin Power Pack into RobotStudio, similar to the PickMaster 3 picking Power Pack?
No, I don't. No, I don't think. It's still based as a power pack on top of RobotStudio, but it still has also like a runtime design and runtime thing. So I don't think that's. And I would not talk too much because I'm not an expert into PickMaster Twin, etc. and so forth. But it's still, you do a lot of configuration still using RobotStudio, set up everything, and you do. So it is integrated. You do a lot of things when you do the design, but then you have the runtime that runs, next to robot with the different recipes and so forth. And I don't think that will not be included into not using RobotStudio. But I will not jump into too much discussion about because I'm not an expert into that. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Is there a training or a course certification available for students to get knowledge about RobotStudio?
No, but there are some training. There are some classes that you can take. We have some getting started classing. We have a package that you can actually. I think you can find it on our website to get going. So you have a lot of different classes that you can start using and go through. But we don't have any formal certifications for RobotStudio. But that is something that we actually are looking into, because this is something that I've been asked a lot. How can I get certified in RobotStudio? How can I get this? RobotStudio, ABB has what we call universities that you can get this type of training, quite intense, quite good, broad trainings that you can take, but they are not. They are from different countries that you can get, and you can get certified by this. but we don't have like in a web-based thing to do it like this. But it's something that we really would like to include and something that we would like to have. So yep, we are talking a lot about that, but we'll leave that maybe to the training guys, etc. We didn't able be to come up with a good thing. But yes, a lot of thoughts in that direction actually, because we would like to see people getting certified in studio.
Yes, thank you. Is there a possibility to use the automatic path planning feature with a dynamic update of the environment, collision geometries based on a 3D point cloud?
Yep. So we can merge. We can have let's say a hybrid of both the static view and also a snapshot taken from a sensor taking mesh or point cloud and combine that and do a new collision-free path planning. It is possible. We can already do that today, so we can have like a mixed or hybrid environment to do the planning. So that means that you have a snapshot, you take the environment and see what should I plan, how does the layout, how does the scene look now right now, and I can do the planning and I can give you the trajectories. So that is already possible today with this mix thing. Right now, what you're seeing already is kind of static, everything fixed, but we can do that as well with an automatic path planning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some feedback here that the collision-free path looks really amazing. And yeah, let's see here. Can we connect this to our own GitHub or GitLab repo?
No, not today. We are using our own Git repo stored in running in the cloud, so we cannot do that as we speak today. There have, of course, been a lot of discussions if you can, point out another Git repo or do this, but so far, no, we cannot do it. We only run in our cloud with our setup of the Git repos.
There's
Who knows?
also yeah, there's also a question about if it's possible to share a file from the cloud with people who don't have a license of RobotStudio.
Yep. So the recording and that we saw the share recording that that are visualized when you have this one you don't need to have any licenses for. So this is just a link that you get to your mail. You'll click on that link and it will take you to a web browser, and you don't have to have any license, and you don't have to have anything installed in RobotStudio or whatever. It's just just a link to some. So yes, that is free to use for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Perfect, thank you. Let's see here. Trying to find. Yeah, there's perhaps more of an Omnicore question, but we'll touch upon it anyways. When can we expect to have Omnicore support supporting multi-move?
I don't know. It's my answer. But no, I will not. I will not say anything about the Omnicore. Unfortunately, I leave that to the other guys that are
Yeah, we'll make
responsible
sure
for
that
that
we
one.
get some
So
information. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll get in touch with Peter who runs the.
yeah. I think it's much better to talk to Peter Fixell instead.
Yep.
Let him answer that.
When we create a box geometry in modeling, is there a way we can change the dimensions once it's created?
No, yeah, both yes and no. I mean, the one that you import, they are static, they are solids, but we also have parametric boxes as well that we have as smart components that you can use. But the one that you imported, they are static. Yes, you can scale them, put different scales, but we are not having like a parametric models as in CAD tools, etc. So, but there are ways to tweak around a little bit, so we can do it as smart components that can be parametric, or we can scale them differently as well. So there are workarounds, but maybe not the thing that you think of or refer to.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. I'm trying to look through here if there's.
It's not that easy to cover everything.
Yeah, it's been people like the questions. They tend to move around in the chat as well. So, but
Yep.
there's one here that we haven't covered. I know. Can you please show the demo of the AR Viewer app, if possible?
Yep, let's have that in mind for the next webinar. So that means that you have to come to the next one. We can definitely do that. I think as I said, we have a lot of things planned for the AR viewer for next year, which will be super interesting. There are, I think, as well a few things on the website where you can find and see how it works, and it's kind of intuitive. So please, just start downloading it first. You have all instructions on the website. Download it, play around with some of the sample solutions that we have there. You can upload new things from RobotStudio and to visualize it. It's kind of self-explanatory, but more will come next year. So stay tuned on that part. As you saw, we will bring it more tightly to our cloud ecosystem as well in terms of this. But I think you will be able to test it by yourself a lot. But I like it. Good point.
Mhm. It's almost like we planned this as a cliffhanger for our next webinar.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah, exactly. More to come soon. I always say soon. More.
Yeah. So that's it. We've gone through most of the questions. There are some ones that were duplicates as well. So I'm hoping that we covered all of them. So Magnus, please go ahead. I'll just hand it back to you for some final words and perhaps some key takeaways from this session. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
So thank you, Albert, and thanks everybody for interacting with us and asking and proposing a lot of new functionalities and feedback and functionality, etc. It's super appreciated. Even if it's a little bit static, I talk, you're right. So I'm very grateful that you take your time to ask me all the things, and especially thanks to everybody that have joined this call today. And I really hope that you find something useful, something that you can bring with you back home. And as you see, we have a lot of things in the pipeline and more to come. So, please download RobotStudio. Please download the latest version. Start playing around with it and let us know what you think, really. And we will soon hear again. I will be back with a webinar quite soon again. And until that, I wish you a very, very nice Christmas and rest of the work week and so on. But take care and have a good one. And thanks once again for participating and joining.